Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. It is truly an absolutely beautiful day outside right now. We are pushing about 65 degrees, which is the warmest and probably the sunniest day we've had since I took delivery of the C8 Corvette. And this sun and this temperature makes it the absolute perfect day to be wrapping up the Corsa Xtreme exhaust installation on the C8 Corvette. And in case you didn't see the last video, definitely go ahead and use the promo code JumpSquadAuto to save yourself 5% on the Corsa Xtreme exhaust for your C8 Corvette. Or if you want to go with the valved exhaust, or honestly any exhaust, this coupon code will be able to save you 5% on your next order. And I apologize for the abrupt outro in the last video. My GoPro actually died, and that seemed like a good place to kind of end it out, so that's kind of where I stopped. But we did end up spending about another hour or so in the shop last night doing the rest of that installation. And so hopefully within the next hour or so, we'll be able to put the rest of the car back together and get the car back out on the road to share some of the audio sound clips of what this exhaust is going to sound like. And I am super excited to really know what it sounds like because I love a burbly V8. I imagine that this is going to be a very loud exhaust, which is really what I was looking for to begin with. Again, so used to the EcoBoost V6 sound that a V8 is just something I've wanted for so long. And one of the loudest possible V8s that you can have is a mid-engine car with about 5 feet of straight piped exhaust. Other than that, it's been a relatively straightforward install. There hasn't been any hiccups, and that's one of the best things about a C8 Corvette. It's an American-built supercar, and so it's very flexible in that you can work on it yourself. You don't need any fancy tools. You don't have to take it to a dealership with a specialized technician. That stuff helps, and if you aren't comfortable and you don't have the right tools, definitely make sure you have a professional install this exhaust. But with a decent amount of mechanical skill sets, you can do a lot of work on the C8 Corvette yourself. And that's one of the beauties of owning an American-built supercar. So without wasting any further time, let's hop into the Ford F-150 Raptor, head over to my buddy's shop, and get the rest of this install out of the way. And just like that, we are here. King Ranch looking good as usual. Alright, so we're back at it today, another day. The C8's almost put back together. We have the exhaust installed. The GoPro battery died last night, which is why I kind of had an abrupt outro. We did work for about another hour afterwards to get the exhaust in. It looks really, really good. The fitment has been spot on. Everything from Corsa pretty much just fits like a glove to one another. For the most part, it's all relatively straightforward and easy. My buddy pretty much did most of it on his own. He was able to access the bolts for the bottom of these mid pipes from just up top here. He didn't even have to go under. So really, it's amazing how easy it was to install all these components. Now that the AFM valves are hooked up, we are going to start it just to make sure that everything's tight and there aren't any leaks. And then the next step is going to be putting the bumper back on and then putting this all back together. So it's going to sound really, really good. Buddy. Oh, he's a little afraid. Hey, buddy. So now most of the rear end's put back together. Again, a lot of T15 screws, but it's pretty easy and straightforward. I mean, one person can put the entire inner rear liner back together. It's not that hard. And just look at those tips. I know some people are going to say that I should have gone with the black tips, but honestly my take is that this looks a lot closer to factory. It kind of doesn't stick out as much. I also like that the fact that the lettering for the Corsa is in polished, and that on a black tip I think would stick out a little bit too much. So it fits a little bit better with this polished stainless tip. Overall, really satisfied with the way this side's come out. If I had to be critical of it, the one thing I would say is I wish the inside of the tip was black. That way the tube that's stainless that's coming through, if that all was blacked out, I just think it might look a little bit better. Versus you can see the inner pipe coming through these tips because the tips are not that long. So a little bit more left to do and then we should be pretty much done with this whole project. And just like that, everything is back together. I can't stress how awesome this looks. I think the tips are just right. They stick out just far enough where it's kind of, you get that little custom feel to it, but it still looks factory to the naked eye. Now, definitely one of the most time-consuming parts is you know, effectively putting all this stuff back together. There are just so many bolts, but thankfully it's a job well done. We don't have any bolts left over. Aligning the tips obviously takes a little bit more time as well, but after a little bit of playing around, we were able to get everything to align. Coming over to the other side, it just looks really, really good. And you can see the X pipe through the mesh, which is really cool too. I'm coming over to the factory exhaust. Nothing against this exhaust, to be honest. I think it's a really, really good exhaust, especially for a factory exhaust. Honestly, hands down, one of the best factory exhausts that I've ever listened to. But I really was looking for some sound that kind of was excessively obnoxious, super loud. You pretty much just wake up the whole neighborhood. And I think that's what the Corsa Xtreme is going to give me. And huge shout out to Corsa. They give an incredible depth to the instructions. Everything is very clear. The one thing I will say, and I can't stress enough, is make sure the battery is disconnected and you do not turn the car on when the exhaust is all disconnected. Typically, a lot of YouTubers do that to get the most sound, kind of play that clip, but that will require an AFM relearning cycle, and you really don't want to get into that mess. So like the instructions say, disconnect the battery and don't plug it back in, and don't turn the car on until at least the AFM valves are hooked back up.
It's a 3-cylinder.
3 1/4.
The amount of the burbles, the pops, it's all there. So I've been driving around with this exhaust for the last couple days. I'm not really sure what the audio is going to come out like, but I have to say that this exhaust system is absolutely amazing. Ooh, the shifts are just so profound. You can tell exactly when it's upshifting, downshifting, and when you let off, especially in lower gears, you just get this nice burble. And I really think that the mic isn't going to pick a lot of this sound up, but in second and third gear, whenever you let off the accelerator, it just gives you this nice little rumble and burble sound to it, and I do really love it. What's really great is I just rolled up the windows and now we're cruising right around 40 miles an hour. There's very little drone if you're kind of tame with the throttle. You kind of have to expect a little bit of drone with the kind of exhaust that this is. This is the loudest and, for lack of better words, the most extreme. And it sounds so good. It's loud, it's obnoxious, it's really cool, it turns heads. And the C8 turns heads regardless, but now the sound also kind of brings a lot of attention to the car. Not necessarily what I was going for, but I just wanted this really engaging performance V8 sound. And the Xtreme delivers on that note. You do get a little bit of drone kind of when you're accelerating lightly between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs, but it's really nothing that you can't power band right through. And the amount of insulation and sound deadening that goes into this cabin does a wonderful job of isolating that sound. both worlds, where with the windows rolled up and the top on, it's very, very quiet. There's really not a huge sound increase over the track setting in the performance exhaust. But with the windows open and the top off, you can notice just an incredibly crazy amount of exhaust burbles, pops, crackles. Again, nothing absolutely crazy. It's not something like Street Speed 717 ZR1. Without a burble tune, you really can't get that kind of popping noises. But you can still manage to get a good amount of burbles on the low end. And that's really exactly what I was looking for. And so all in all, guys, I have zero regrets with this exhaust. I'm going to make a ton of various audio clips. But to give a brief overview here of my initial impressions, this sounds absolutely amazing. I'm extremely impressed. I'm really happy with the final result of this install. It was straightforward, everything fit together perfectly, the precision was all there. And best of all, you get some amazing sound. Especially the shifts, but my favorite part hands down is when you let off the throttle and just that fire breathing burble that comes out. All I can say, guys, is I am absolutely blown away with this exhaust note. It is one of the loudest and burbliest V8 rumbles that I've heard out of any vehicle. And I will be honest, I don't know if the Corsa Xtreme is for everybody. If you're looking for a little bit more control and a little bit more management over this sound, definitely check out their valved exhaust setup. I personally was looking for the most obnoxious, loud V8 noise that I could get, so I went with the Xtreme that deleted the NPP valves as well as the AFM valves, and as you guys heard, this exhaust sounds absolutely amazing. And with only a few feet of exhaust pipe, with this being a mid-engine car, a lot of that sound is behind you, and the C8 does a great job of insulating the cabin, so you don't get a ton of excessive exhaust notes when you have the top on and the windows rolled up. You will get a little bit of drone, obviously, because again, it is a straight piped exhaust. But if you're cruising at 40 miles an hour, there really isn't an obnoxious noise unless you have the windows open. And when you do, it's just an endless amount of snap, crackle, and pops that you get the entire RPM band. And honestly, guys, what else is there to say? This is exactly what I was looking for. I think Corsa hit it out of the park like they always do. Amazing price point that they came in with this exhaust. The absolute amazing quality that you expect from Corsa in terms of their exhaust quality. Obviously, it looks really, really good, and then it performs even better. The sound is just amazing. The shift points are much more pronounced. You can hear the exhaust pop every time it upshifts or downshifts. I shouldn't say pops, more of just a nice little burble. It's subtle and it's really, really nice to listen to. This is exactly what I was going for, and it definitely makes C8 a much more engaging and fun experience, but again, it's not for everybody. And the best part about that is Corsa gives you so many different options and setups to use on the C8 between their headers, their cats, their exhausts with the valves and without the valves, AFM simulators, AFM simulator deletes. It's all there for you to get the exact sound that you were looking for. And I'll be uploading a lot of smaller clips, a lot of short videos for the YouTube Shorts platform that YouTube has launched as well, so definitely stay tuned for that. And I do apologize if the car is a little bit dirty. It's sat in the shop for probably about a week, so it needs a really good wash. And that'll probably be the next thing that I do right after this video. But with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a big old thumbs up. If you have not already, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. Since we've got all the protective and preventative maintenance stuff out of the way in all the videos so far, this was the very first big performance modification that we did. And there's still so much more I want to explore with this car and share with everybody. So do consider subscribing to the channel. It will help this platform grow, as well as give me a little bit more support to do a little bit more crazy and wilder things with the cars and trucks that I purchase. And as always, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the C8 Corvette and this Corsa Xtreme exhaust. The pros, the cons, the positives, the negatives, let me know all of it. And with that said, guys, as always, until the very next video, I will see you all in the comment section below.